Hello, everybody, and welcome back to NCAA 2005. And we are here, finally getting some conference play underway. We are beginning Pac-10 play today. For the first time in the Vandals program history, we are getting into some Pac-10 conference play. After joining the Pac-10 at the end of the previous season, we come into this game against Oregon State, ranked 17th in the country. The Oregon State Beavers, our first Pac-10 opponent ever, as a member of the Pac-10 at least. But I also don't think we've played Oregon State either. But either way, we're in Corvallis at Rezer, however you say it. I'm not sure how they pronounce it. But we're in Corvallis playing the Beavers here in the nice summer sky, I guess. So it's the fall sky now. We're firmly probably in October by this point. But Oregon State, one of the better teams right now, coming off of last season, heading into this season. Our first year in the Pac-10. They were 7-5 last year and even won the Las Vegas Bowl against New Mexico in crushing fashion. One of the few teams in the Pac-10 that actually looked pretty good in their bowl game last year, capping off their 7-5 campaign. So, looking at the roster, they stacked up pretty well against our roster, but I think we have a little bit more depth in certain positions than they do, like especially like the receiving core. I think we're a little bit deeper there. But one of the big things to note about Oregon State is their starting quarterback, senior Tyrell James, is injured heading into this game. So I'm not sure what the injury is, but he is not playing, and so they're going to have to rely on their backup, the sophomore Jeff Falk, at quarterback. So that gives us a little bit of an edge, I guess, a little bit of a boost here heading into this game here, but we are still on the road here, finally getting into some big boy P6 conference play here, so no guarantees at all, and already we're in a negative situation after a holding call. It's 1st and 20. Norwood flips this one out quickly here, and I can't tell if it's Nicholas Bullard or Roderick Williams, the freshman. I think it's Roderick Williams, or actually it looks like an 89. It looks like a blurred 89. I think it's Nicholas Bullard. They get played on either side of the field. It's very confusing. Like, they get swapped all the time. They're never on the same side of the field, especially Nicholas Bullard. He's literally everywhere in the field at any time. But either way, whoever it is, which I believe it's Nicholas Bullard, he gets us inside the 30 of Oregon State in a humongous play. But already it's 3rd and 3. Norwood drops back to pass, steps up and throws across the middle. And that ball is incomplete as it's a bit of a miscue. Norwood put a little bit too much stank on that one across the middle. He definitely had a man open, but we're going to have to bring out the kicker, Norman Mays, to try and cap off this drive here. The kick is up, and it is no good. So we've seen it happen in the NCAA05 series with Alabama, but I think there might be some winds going on here in Corvallis. Again, you guys probably saw it at the beginning screen with the wind direction, but kicking on that end tends to be an issue for either team. So we'll put a pin in that moving forward, but Jeff Falk finally getting the Beavers moving on offense here as he kind of flips this one out awkwardly to the receiver, Adam Coffin, the sophomore, who hauls this one in, and look at that, just kind of split the defense there. It's a good route to run, and definitely good timing from Jeff Falk as well to get the ball there, because there was definitely some help from a safety over top, but he was able to squeeze that one in. So, but it's already 3rd and 7 for the Beavers, and Falk finds another open target here, and that one looks like a tight end. It looks like it might be the tight end Jeff Wallace, or actually no, that was Wallace right there. It might have been the fullback even, I'm not sure, but either way, it's a fresh set of downs for Oregon State. They're going to go with the option play. Falk is snuffed out immediately, and a juke from the running back gets him into the end zone, and Warren Gross, our star defensive prospect here, is injured on that play. So I think he would ultimately be okay. It's not a long-term injury, but he would exit the game on that play. So we are down a star-strong safety, at least for right now. So, but moving on offense now, we need to answer back to Oregon State as Norwood hits Roderick Williams, the freshman, for a nice pickup through the air to get inside the 40-yard line. So the offense is moving relatively easily. It is a 3rd and 10 now, but it's starting to rock here in Corvallis. And Norwood gets clobbered as he throws the ball, but he does get rid of it, and that ball is going to be caught. But there is a flag on the field, so hold on. Let's look and see what the hanky's for, and it's a defensive pass interference. So not only are we going to convert here, but we are also going to get a nice little boost here. It's going to erase that play and really only give us 2 extra yards, but we're going to get the 1st and 10 and a little bit more yards, just a couple yards. So we will happily take it here from the Oregon State 24. So Norwood back to pass here, rolls out to the right here, lays one up to the end zone, and it's going to be picked off by Oregon State. So we could have just I don't know. It probably would have been the same result either way, but we get the fresh set of downs and we just turn it over anyway. So it's our second drive that goes deep into Oregon State territory and is going to come up and result in 0 pointage. So already you can see the struggles on offense here in the offensive end in enemy territory, we're struggling to click on those cylinders here. Really kind of find our rhythm here. So 1st and 10 for Oregon State. They've already moved the ball a little bit here, and this big pass from Falk is going to get Oregon State pretty much out of their own end and put them right at about midfield. So we had them kind of pinned back. We had a good opportunity to kind of snuff out that opportunity off the turnover, and already Oregon State's making something out of it. So from midfield here, Falk once again going through the air, and he finds an open target here. I believe that time it was Jarvis Marsh, the junior for Oregon State, who hauls that one in, and now Oregon State continuing to move the ball here into Idaho territory. So we got to play strong here. We have a 3rd and 6 situation here, and the defense gets in quickly there. See if we can figure out who exactly we had in there, and it was Zach Weiss, obviously our middle linebacker, one of our best linebackers on the team here, getting in there and snuffing out that 3rd down run play. And kind of a gutsy call from Oregon State anyway to try to run it on 3rd and 6, but I don't know. So they're going to try and kick for it now. After the first quarter comes to a close, we have to switch ends, and because of the wind situation, they were not able to convert it. So we kind of luck out on that one here, kind of taking this one down to the end of the first quarter. So the score's going to remain 7-0, but struggling on offense now we are, and Oregon State has the ball once again, and Falk lays up an absolute prayer of a ball, and it somehow comes down in the hands of an Oregon State receiver. That is their top receiver, Corey Small, who's like an 87, and everyone else in the receiving corps is like a 78. Like, it's a huge discrepancy. Like I said, they don't have the depth that we do at some of their positions. So it's already quickly a 3rd and 10 for the Beavers. And Falk is looking for some kind of opening, and he finds one, and the ball is caught, but unfortunately, they're not going to get the first down. And even more unfortunately, Alton O'Neill, our star defensive end, one of our best pass rushers, is also injured, and he would actually be injured for the game, so he would not come back in this game. So we're down now a top pass rusher, and I still think Warren Gross is out too. He might be out for a couple quarters, but he might already be back. Well, we might see him later on. But 10-0 is now the score as Oregon State was able to convert on that try. They were a little bit closer. The wind didn't factor. It almost did, but it didn't quite exactly factor. So, but we're finally going to move on offense here. Under 2 minutes left to go in the first half. Nicholas Bulge is going to get us a first down so we can continue to move here in Beaver territory as time is ticking closer to about a minute now. We got to move with a little bit of speed, a little bit of urgency as Norwood lays one out once again, I believe, to Nicholas. Or actually, no, it's Roderick Williams who hauls it in, and we're going to call timeout with 50 seconds left. Norwood wants to try and run it for himself here on third down, and he's going to get absolutely clobbered once again. Again, we got to be careful with the contact, as Norwood was already injured before in his time as a starter here at Idaho, so we have to make sure we protect him a little bit, but he wants to run for it. He thought he could get the first down, but he couldn't. So, with the time being a factor here on 4th and down, Norman Mays is going to come out and at least add 3 points. So we're not going to get shut out here in Corvallis, but offense has really left a lot to be desired, especially on the scoreboard in this first half. So on a 3rd and inches, we're going to pitch this one out to Keith Bridges. Kind of a sketchy play. It didn't really look like he got there, but they're going to say that he did, and Keith Bridges is going to say that he did. So we're going to trust in our guy here and take the fresh set of downs. So 1st and 10 for the Vandals offense. Norwood, there's pressure coming, but it doesn't really get through. But he's going to get rid of this one anyway to Roderick Williams very quickly. And as you can see, this tandem between Williams and Bullard is really starting to heat up here in this first season with the two of them. So on a 3rd and goal now for the Vandals here, it's going to be a fullback dive to Dylan Barker, our beloved fullback, and now a senior. And he's going to get into the end zone for the first Idaho touchdown of the day. So we finally do answer back to the Beavers. And despite all of our offensive woes in the first half of the game, we're tied, guys. It's 10-10 here in the 3rd quarter, but Oregon State's offense will not be silenced as we're going to go with a handoff on the ground here, and looks like Callaway, the running back, Jay Callaway, he's a senior, was able to pick up just a couple of yards. Neither team is really running the ball all that efficiently. That's something we've struggled with all year, surprisingly, with Keith Bridges back there, but it's a problem we're going to have to put a pin in and keep looking at. And Jay Falk, man, lays this one up here, and it's going to be Jarvis Marsh once again, kind of gets a generous tackle animation and just kind of plants the ball on the goal line, and they're going to say that he was in, man. They're going to say that that's a good touchdown. And so Falk, man, lays that one up. Falk is making some great passes, man. I think he's a 76 overall, so he's not a bad quarterback by any stretch of the word here. So Oregon State might have their future pretty secure. We might be seeing Jay Falk again in the coming seasons because, again, their quarterback who's injured is a senior. So Oregon State takes a 17-10 lead, and already they're moving once again as they're getting working their way inside here, close to the 20. And that time it was Adam Kaufman, the receiver, the second receiver on the depth chart, who was able to get him down up to about the red zone. Falk taking his time here, dumps this one off quickly again to Marsh, I believe, and he's going to redirect field and get towards the 10. And now Claude Orr is injured. One of our top DBs is injured, and he would be injured for a quarter, but since it's already the end of the third, he's basically out for the rest of the game. So we're losing a lot of guys on defense. On the very next play, Falk is able to find Kaufman in the end zone for another Oregon State touchdown. And it just doesn't really seem like our defense can just keep up right now with what Oregon State is doing. And again, Oregon State's not like a night and day better team than we are, but our defense really struggling to contain here. And there you see Zach Weiss trying to readjust and make a play on the ball here, just about an inch or a second too late. And so 24-10 is the score at the end of the third quarter. So we got a lot of ground to cover, but we got plenty of time to do it. And we're moving on offense here. Going to hand this one off to Keith Bridges. And finally, a nice run here for Bridges. I feel like we've been starving for one of those all year so far. He's really struggled to get going here early in the season, but there's a nice first down for us. We will take it. So inside the red zone, it's already a 3rd and 10. Corvallis is rocking a little bit. Norwood going to get rid of this one quickly across the middle, and it's caught. An absolute hospital ball. Nearly gets our receiver killed. I'm not sure who it was. It might have been Roger Williams. Nearly gets him killed, but it is going to still be caught. He managed to keep his hands on the ball here and protect himself. So it is going to be a touchdown for the Vandals, and we're finally answering back here to Oregon State, if just a little bit. So 24-17 is the score here. And now Jeff Falk looking to pass all day to throw, and he lays this one out, and he finds Kaufman once again for another completion. And Kaufman has just been absolutely terrorizing this Idaho secondary, which is starting to pile up some injuries, to put it lightly. It's starting to pile up some of the injuries. So we don't have as much help over top in this portion of the game as we did earlier. So 1st and 10 for Oregon State now in Vandal territory. They're going to hand this one off to Callaway, and Callaway's got some open space up the middle, but he is going to be brought down, but not before getting a first down to extend Oregon State's drive. And there I saw Warren Gross on the field, so he is okay. I figured he came back. I didn't think it was a serious injury that was going to keep him out of the game, but we haven't noticed a lot of his help, so maybe he's still a little rattled. On a 3rd and 6, pressure is coming to Falk as Falk is trying to run from it. That dude's got to have maybe 20 speed. I have no idea. I have no idea why he was so slow, but either way. So Jonathan Weiss was able to snuff him out and get the sack. And now Oregon State kicking on this end once again, and it does not work out for them as that kick is once again short. So the lead remains 7 points. So this is a prime opportunity for us here. 2.5 minutes. We have plenty of time. So on a 3rd and 15, not looking good here. Norwood tries to dump this one off quickly here to Hubbard, the tight end, and that ball is broken up by Oregon State. So we're going to have to punt this one back to the Beavers, and that might just be, I don't know, probably should have went for it, but it's a controversial call that we'll stick with. We still have under 2 minutes here. We're going to trust in the defense and all of our timeouts. And on a 3rd down here, Jeff Falk gets rid of it in time, but he gets hit as he throws in that ball, and they're going to mark him short, just a couple inches. So Oregon State would have to punt it back to us here, and we were able to use our timeouts to conserve time. Now Matt Norwood going to try and run for it himself here to get something going on offense. He gets the first down and is brought down at about the Idaho 39. So we're going to run with the hurry up here, as time is, of course, a factor. Same with timeouts here is what we just had to do with the Oregon State drive. So 1st and 10, Norwood's going to take the snap here, looks over his options, throws it deep down the sideline, and it's going to be caught, but coming down out of bounds is Nicholas Bullard with the ball, so that play is not going to count. So fast forward to a 3rd and 10 now as we're struggling down to our last couple opportunities once again. Norwood dumping it off quickly across the middle again, a little bit of a crossing route to Keith Bridges, and that's going to go absolutely nowhere. So it's going to be 4th down now, under a minute, 4th and 6 for the Vandals, and Norwood looking over his options, throws it across the middle, and it's a miscue to Huber, the tight end, I believe, and that ball just sails into the turf. And that guy's got cornrows. Hey, this dude's got cornrows. Someone check that. Someone check this guy. He's got cornrows. But either way, that's going to end the game here as we turn the ball over on downs and we stumble into Pac-10 play with a pretty heart-crushing loss here in a full Reser stadium here in Corvallis. Maybe Oregon State's just trying to put a statement win on us, man. Say, hey, you guys ain't built for this. But I think we are. I think we absolutely are. I think this is just kind of one of those games that we just maybe weren't fully prepared for. Obviously, the guys were not as durable for this game. That's for sure. And the offense had some kinks to really kind of iron out. We're really not seeing a whole lot of contribution from Keith Bridges, which is a really big thing to note, that we're not seeing a ton from him. I still think passing the ball is pretty efficient here, but we are going to look at Matt Norwood's passing breakdown, because he really had another terrible game. He throws the ball a lot every game, and he doesn't complete hardly half of those passes. So it's getting hard to consistently win those games. And as you can see, the red zone percentage, both teams struggled in that area of the game, as we were unable to kick on one end of the field, potentially leaving quite a bit of points, probably 9 points collectively between both teams on the field, and that's not really going to help us out at all. If we can't do that. So still 284 yards and a touchdown, but the 44% completion percentage and the pick is really bad, especially when that pick probably could have led to us some points here, probably could have erased the loss that we had. Roderick Williams still continues to be a huge contributor here in our receiving core, which is great to see. I don't want to be a one-sided team that can only pass and not run, so we need to figure out running with Keith Bridges a lot more. But if we can still pass efficiently, then we can win games. So, and speaking of winning games, coming back to the Hub World, we then headed to Washington State and took a win against them, and then we picked up a win against Oregon. So both Oregon and Washington State were struggling. That's why I send those games. And so we're going to fast forward now to our game against Stanford. So when we meet next time, we will be playing against the Stanford Cardinal, our first game against them. And Stanford's another one of these teams in the Pac-10 who had a decent year last year. So this should be quite the matchup. So hope to see you guys there.